Good evening. At 6 o'clock, welcome to the December 9th meeting of the governing body. Call this meeting to order. This evening, I'm going to ask for the invocation. If we'll just have a moment of silence, stand as you are able, and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. This is a joyous time of the year, but for a lot of people, they also struggle with this time of year because of family members who are no longer with them or have recently passed. I know just myself, I had a good friend of mine I've known for years just passed this week. And so it's tough for a lot of families. So I ask that you give them a moment of silence and consideration and support everyone who is going through tough times. Even though it is a happy time of year, it's a tough time of year for a lot of people. So thank you for just a moment of silence. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Madam Clerk, if you call the roll, please.
Mayor Padilla.
Here.
Council members Hiller. Here. Valdivia Acala. Ortiz. Here. Banks.
Here.
Kell. Miller.
Here.
Dobler.
Here.
Duncan.
Here.
And Hofer. Here. Oh, he's here. Okay. So we have 8 yes with council members Valdivia Acala and Kell absent.
Did I hear that Councilman Miller's on?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right, thank you very much. Move on to appointments. Madam Clerk.
Items A and B are board appointments recommending the reappointment of Robert Burquest and Kurt Young to the Topeka Tourism Business Improvement District Advisory Board for a term ending December 31, 2027. C is a board appointment recommending the reappointment of Walter Showmaker to the Topeka Board of Zoning Appeals to fill a term ending December 31, 2028. D is a board appointment recommending the reappointment of Jeff Roman to the Board of Plumbing Examiners for a term ending December 31, 2027. Items E and F are board appointments recommending the reappointment of Melina Stewart and Dave Frederick to the Topeka Landmarks Commission for a term ending December 31, 2028.
Okay, thank you. You've heard the appointments as read. Is there a motion to approve from the body? Motion to approve by Councilman Dobler, a second from Councilman Banks. Do we do the roll call?
Yeah, you can go ahead and use your board.
Okay, we can use the board.
So,
Ready to vote?
Yep. Councilmember Miller.
Yes.
Okay, we can't hear him.
Yes. Can anybody hear me?
Okay, we have 8 yes, the motion carries.
Okay, thank you. Now, I see Kurt in the audience. If there are any of the other of the appointees are here in the audience, if you stand so we can acknowledge you and thank you for your service. Thank you very much. Okay, presentations, Madam Clerk.
Tonight we have an update from Visit Topeka.
Hello all. So my timer here is told to stay brief, and I will do my best here, guys. So here we go. So our contract is before you tonight, so I'm here just to give a brief overview of our working relationship together. I'm Sean Dixon. I'm the president of Visit Topeka. Visit Topeka is a C6 nonprofit organization as part of the Greater Topeka Partnership. We have loads of accreditations within our industry, including a DMAP accreditation for the organization and 2 CDME, which is sort of the top certifications at a professional level that we have on our team. And of course, I mentioned part of the Greater Topeka Partnership, and we're here to grow the Topeka's economy through the travel industry. We operate within the current base 5% transient guest tax. 79% of those funds are our operating funds. We receive an additional set of 11% of those funds for large attraction and exhibition development and attraction to the market. So that's our bid fund for large sporting events, conventions, and we use that for exhibitions as well. Dino Days would be a great example of that in years past. We report back to you guys on a quarterly basis. That is spelled out in the agreement itself, but you guys do get quite a bit from us. Part of that reporting is a quarterly P&L from us. You receive the same set of financials that my board receives on a quarterly basis. We provide those to you, highlighting one, our overall financial oversight, which is not only the Visit Topeka Board of Directors, but the Greater Topeka Partnerships Board and their financial oversight committees as well. And then, of course, we're audited annually as part of that overall operation with them. There we go. We also, per contract, report on the overall health of the tourism industry. In particular with the hotels, we do that through third-party reporting, through service provided by CoStar, known as the STR report. Through that, we get a pretty comprehensive, at times daily snapshot of where the hotels are heading with us. And per our contract, we do sort of make sure to see a steady percentage growth of that. Now, with the pandemic and the 5-year rolling cycle of this, I will say we tend to compare ourselves to pre-pandemic numbers, the 5 years up to 2020. We are still recovering against that. The last several years, we have seen steady growth on that recovery, except for 2025. You'll see in our numbers, our entire comp set took a hit with U.S. travel down substantially this year, but with 2026 and beyond, we're looking very strong with a lot of the work we put in place during this contract period for you guys here as well. And you can see those numbers represented here. And again, I'm keeping it brief, but there's a much longer version of this online with the Transient Guest Tax Committee that I had in their last meeting. But overall, we've seen some steady growth, but we're still comparing ourselves back to pre-pandemic numbers, and we want to get back to there as part of our long-term strategy. This is all kinds of messed up. It doesn't look like this when I hand it to you guys, but just examples in here of the granularity of reporting. We give transient guest tax numbers in terms of collections, and then overall demand rate numbers, and of course revenue for the city. That looks crazy. Sorry about that, guys, but see the printouts. But trust me, they're much prettier when you guys get them from us. We also run the marketing campaign on behalf of promoting the city outside the city. That is the sort of leisure focus that we have in there. We spend several $100,000s a year doing that. That is an award-winning effort that we have a really great team built around here at the partnership. This is an example of some of our most recent city guide covers that we've produced, highlighting some new attractions. And of course, in 2021, we started translating all of our marketing materials into Spanish, and we continue that through today as a way of making sure that we're reaching as much market as we can in all of this. Not limited to microsites. I throw this up here. The one all the way to the left on that screen, that NYC to Topeka, was our response to the disparaging comments that the Mayor Adams had made about Topeka. We launched a sweepstakes that was for the residents of the 5 boroughs of New York, and we had 2,000 people register to win a free trip to Topeka to see it for themselves and not take his word for it. So great press out of that. And of course, there's some formatting issues here, but we also report back to you web numbers and other performance-related statistics per contract as it relates to our marketing efforts. This is just a snapshot of our web traffic through that time, that we've seen substantial growth since launching our new campaign at the beginning of 2024. That's continuing into 2026. And it's not just the metrics that are in the contract. We do a heavy PR push as well. Great example of that success for us is last year when we did Brown v. Board. We had 3 minutes on Good Morning America. It was very much an intentional effort of ours and our PR folks to get that done. We also handle the major group sales and sports sales for the market. We've had a lot of great successes this year that start really paying off for us in 2026. The return of Kansas Kids Wrestling, we have a new 5-year agreement with them. That group spends $2 million every time they have their tournament in Topeka, and we've got them for the next 5 years. We also have JUCO returning with their indoor track and field championships. And we've just booked the NAIA this year, which is bringing their cheer and dance national championships to Topeka. Great example of what those rooms look like when they're performing well for us. My team is responsible for a lot of those rooms that come into the market. And over the last 3 years of this contract period, we've secured or supported about 100,000 rooms that have brought in related to large events for us. We do that on the sports side too as well. During this contract period, we established the Topeka Area Sports Commission to not only help us with that effort, but to reinvest back in our athletes and make sure that we're competitive as a population as well. And of course, we invest a lot of our money across the board with things like Fiesta Topeka, Day of the Dead, For the Culture, Thunder Over the Heartland, and great events like the Balloon Glow we had here this fall. And looking forward to us to wrap up, we keep a strategy in place for the organization that's meant to align with Momentum 2027. We emphasize destination development, which we've seen a lot of in this market over the last couple of years. The brand management, our organizational funding, we try to maximize our revenue beyond what you provide to us through private partnerships. And of course, programming the market through sports and leisure programming are strategic imperatives to us. So with that, I will end my time and be available for any and all questions you guys may have of me for what we do.
Great. Thank you, Sean.
Yes, sir.
Any questions from the body? No. Councilwoman Hiller.
Talk to us about what impact you think having World Cup in Kansas City is going
It
to
will be substantial for us. We've been dealing with the KC26 committee on a routine basis now at this point. We had staff with them today to kind of go over the post-draw what next is coming. So we're getting profiles from those visitors that will be coming in. Obviously, heavy Spanish-speaking market with Argentina coming in, but some German-speaking folks in there as well. So we're looking at all of that. We're taking a multi-tiered approach to how we're going to market and program the destination as a result of that. One, obviously, we want to appeal to the 600,000 people that will be in Kansas City that are not from Kansas City for that event, and making sure that we're buying media and adjusting our marketing strategy accordingly. There's a secondary tier that we're looking at that is the Kansas City resident themselves. There's a lot of people that are going to be listing their homes on Airbnb to make some money during that time. We want them looking west and not east for what they're going to do with their time while that happens. So we're working with area owners now with some of their area organizations. And then, of course, the entire mix of what happens in Lawrence if it becomes a true training site is selected. We haven't gotten that notification yet. There's still some teams that are waiting to qualify for the World Cup. But once that is in place, we'll kind of know exactly as that programming draws out here. So we're very plugged in and involved with that, and it's been a wait and see until this week. But we were very happy with the draw that we got with Argentina coming to the market.
Thank you. I think the public knows a little bit about it. Are there some months? I mean, is there a time frame when we should be expecting?
Yes.
Bunch of company?
They will begin in June, and in the last half of June and go into July. We expect the market to be pretty saturated during those times. So we're seeing rates oftentimes 2 or 3 times what we would tend to expect during that time already posted. And with those announcements now made, we'll start to see those bookings in earnest. But it will be a relatively expensive time to have a hotel room in the market during June and July of next year, and that's already caused us to displace some business that is price conscientious, but I would expect at least to see that groundswell, and we have proof of that. We saw that with Taylor Swift, and we saw that with Chapel Roan here recently. We had both of those instances pick up rooms in this market.
Thank you. I know you have some other things too, but I thought it would be a good way to give us a picture of what we're looking for.
Yes, the crowds are coming. We're just adjusting all of the strategy and the programming accordingly now.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Any further questions? No? Thank you very much, Sean.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Madam Clerk, consent agenda.
A is approval of a Public Works Department contract amendment for professional services between the City of Topeka and United Engineering Group Midwest LLC in an amount not to exceed $53,900. B, staff is recommending the minutes of the regular governing body meeting of December 2nd be withdrawn from the agenda and placed on the December 16th agenda, and there are no applications.
Thank you. We've heard the consent agenda is read. Is there a motion from the body? Motion to approve by Councilman Duncan and a second by Councilman Banks. Oh, I'm sorry, Councilman Miller. I didn't see you. Got it. Okay. We're ready to vote, ma'am.
Okay, hold on just a second here. Okay. And then Councilmember Miller?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
That was yes.
A lot of words for yes. Okay, we have 8 yes, the motion carries.
Thank you. Move on to action items, Madam Clerk.
A is approval of an agreement between the City of Topeka and Visit Topeka Incorporated to implement convention and tourism programs for the city in accordance with the performance indicators attached as Exhibit A.
Mr. City Manager?
Thank you. Mayor, members of the governing body, Braxton Copley, Deputy City Manager, will lead us through this item.
Thank you, governing body. I will start the presentation on this because I presented it to the Transient Guest Tax Committee, but then I will defer, of course, to the chair of the Transient Guest Tax Committee if they would like to add anything. Staff recommends approval. This item is simply the 3-year extension of the existing contract between the city and Visit Topeka to manage the transient guest tax funds that come in, to use those to best attract and leverage those funds for other tourism. The city receives 10% of that goes into the general fund. The remaining portion of it goes to Visit Topeka. Sean and his team are doing a fantastic job, and staff recommends approval. And again, I will defer to TGT Chair to add anything.
Councilwoman Hofer?
Nothing to add, just that we recommended that we approve it, and I am going to move for approval.
Okay, motion to approve by Councilwoman Hofer, a second by Councilman Duncan. Councilman Duncan, did you have a comment as well?
Yeah, I was just going to let people know that at the Transient Guest Tax Committee, we had a much more in-depth presentation on this contract and went over a lot more of the details. So anyone who's really interested and can go back and watch that meeting. They can get a lot of details, more from Sean's presentation about a lot of the work they've done in the city, questions by myself, Councilwoman Hofer, and Councilwoman Valdez. So there's a lot there on that from that meeting. So thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, we're ready to vote.
Okay. Councilmember Miller?
Yes.
Okay, we have 8 yes, the motion carries.
Yes, also.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, is it?
Let me get him here. All right.
Did you
So
get his
is he a
vote?
yes? Are you a yes? Do you want to vote on that?
Yes, yes.
Yes. Okay, so 9 yes, the motion carries.
Okay.
All right.
Action item 5B, Madam Clerk.
B is a resolution introduced by City Manager Dr. Robert Perez approving the 2026 award recommendations for the Topeka Dreams Neighborhood Improvement Initiatives Program.
Mr. City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the governing body. Bianca Barnett, Community Program Administrator, will lead us through this item. We did talk about this item last week as far as the recommendations on the Dreams funding. We're here to answer any questions you may have.
Okay. Bianca?
So I'll stand for any questions that you all may have.
No questions? Excuse me?
If you have a contrary.
Might be, okay. All right, thank you. Mr. Bell, are you on Zoom?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, I am.
Go ahead, sir.
Okay. I didn't really have anything to say other than I had written that grant, Tennessee Town, for Phase 3 over at Kings Court to try to get closer to finishing up improvements over there. And I am a firm believer in following these things through to the end. And so this is the last step in that process. And so I'm hopeful that you all will vote to support our efforts at continuing to make Kings Court a really great place, not only for folks in Tennessee Town, but in Topeka generally. You know, we hold our annual basketball tournament there, so thank you for your consideration.
Thank you, sir. Okay, we've heard 5B resolution read. Is there a motion from the body? Motion to approve by Councilwoman Hiller, second by Councilman Miller. I'm trying to see if you're seconding or voting yes. Okay, good. Second by Councilman Miller. All right, we're ready to vote.
Okay. Okay, Councilmember Miller
Yes.
and Councilmember Kell. I didn't hear him. You say yes? Okay, we have 9 yes, the motion carries.
All right. Move for 5C, Madam Clerk.
C is a public hearing for the purpose of hearing and answering objections of taxpayers relating to the proposed amendments to the 2025 operating budget.
Mr. City Manager?
Thank you. Mayor and members of the governing body, Josh McInerney, Division Director of Budget and Finance, will lead us to this item.
Good evening, Mayor and governing body. So like Brenda said, we're talking about budget amendments for the 2025 budget. So taking a step back, we submit the budget to the state before October 1st. So this would have been submitted October 1st of 2024. So quite a while back. And then this is just a public hearing tonight, and it's for transparency purposes. And then so getting into actually what we're amending. So we attached a memo and just kind of the highlights. None of it is anything unexpected. So the first one is our special alcohol program, where we gave out more money than was anticipated, but that was because we had a built-up fund balance. Now, how did we have a built-up fund balance? It was because the money that we get from the liquor sales from the state came in higher than expected, and so we had a built-up fund balance, so we were comfortable in distributing more money out to organizations such as Vallejo, PARS, Kansas Children's Service, Family Service and Guidance Center, et cetera. So that was the first major one. Another one of note of when we set the budget back in 2024, we did not know at the time that the Sunflower Soccer Organization, talking about TGT, we were going to make a $450,000 distribution to them for their lights and that major project. So that's an example of we had more information found out after we approved the budget. So this is just for transparency purposes, and that, yes, we exceeded the budget, that what we were planning on spending, but there was a built-up fund balance, and there's a reason we're spending that down to give out for project use. Another one, so our retirement reserve fund. So back when we set the budget, this was kind of when we were approving about 600 employees for the union contract. So we gave out some union increases to where the payouts for 2025 were much higher than expected when we approved the budget. Now, there is a large fund balance in that fund, so we're able to absorb the cost, but that's just something to be mindful going forward, in that we didn't make sure we always have enough money when we have huge police and fire class retirements that we can afford the payouts of all the accrued sick leave, of all the accrued vacation time, because those are pretty substantial hits when 20 people retire at once. Two other major ones are TIFs and CIDs. So TIFs and CIDs, when we set the budget, we just go off what's the prior year. Now, this isn't necessarily any expense the city incurs. This is simply a pass-through. So for an example, when we generate money off of a CID, a 2% sales tax, we get the money in the excess of the 2%, and then we give it back to the developer on the back end. Now, we do take out an admin fee, but that's a revenue for the city. So it's not really that the city's spending money, it's just we collected more dollars than what was anticipated, and therefore we're exceeding what we're giving out, which is more than what we anticipated. And then the final major one is the TMTA. Same idea as the others, is that we set a budget about $6.6 million back in 2024. We had a little more higher collected property tax and motor vehicle tax than what was expected, and so we simply expensed more out than what was anticipated when we initially approved the budget. So that's just kind of the quick and dirty of what we exceeded on budget. And then the main thing, kind of just reviewing, because we talked about the budget obviously throughout the summer and the fall, is coming in under budget is good, but we also need to make sure we also have the revenues on the back end to cover, and in each one of these funds that was the case. It's not like we didn't have a built-up fund balance and we had to subsidize elsewhere. So that's an important thing to keep in mind. It's one thing to come under budget, but we also have to make sure we have revenues on the back end to cover those expenses. So that's all I got.
Thank you, Josh. If you'll stand for a second, or as this is a public hearing, I need to read the following. At this time, I will open the public hearing and ask if there's anyone present who would like to speak to the matter. Is there anyone present who would like to speak to the matter? Is there anyone present who would like to speak to the matter? Hearing none, the public hearing is closed. And I ask the governing body members if they have any questions or any comments or want to make a motion on this item. Councilman Ortiz? Motion to approve. Okay.
This is just a public hearing, so we just need to open it and conduct it and close it. There's no action to be taken.
No action, okay.
The ordinance will be considered next week on the 16th.
Okay. I like that, getting ahead. Okay. Action item 5D. Madam Clerk.
D is a public hearing for the purpose of receiving public comment on the proposed Sunflower Crossing Redevelopment District project plan and an ordinance introduced by City Manager Dr. Robert Perez. Adopting a redevelopment project plan for Sunflower Crossing Redevelopment District within the city of Topeka, Kansas.
City Manager.
Thank you. Mayor, members of the governing body, Braxton Copley, Deputy City Manager, will lead us through this item.
Mayor, council members, I have a short PowerPoint presentation that Dan will queue up. This will cover items 5D, E, and F. Once we get to the public hearing, the developer and his counselor here, if you have any specific questions, and I'm sure they will want the opportunity to make have a few brief words. So we're going to be talking about the Sunflower Crossing. That's Polsinelli's. Dan, could you get mine up?
It'll be 2 minutes if you want to start now.
So we're going to be talking about the Sunflower Crossing tax increment finance and the CID. Just as a reminder, the governing body approved the creation of the TIF district on November 12th, and that was based on blight. Additionally, the Planning Commission took action at the October 20th Planning Commission meeting, and they made a finding that the project plan was consistent with the comprehensive plan for the city. Staff have reviewed the TIF project plan as well as the CID application, and we have performed our financial analysis to ensure that the but-for test is met. The three items that are going to be in front of you tonight are the adoption of the Community Investment District, the adoption of the Tax Increment Finance Project Plan, as well as the development agreement. Just so that we're all on the same page, page 3 to be exact, Dan. Sunflower Crossing is located, there we go, thank you. Sunflower Crossing is located at the northwest corner of Topeka Boulevard and Kansas Avenue, just south of 38th and just north of the junction with I-470. The area highlighted in blue is the area that is subject to the TIF and the CID. The development agreement sets forth the total project cost at $16 million. I'm sorry, I jumped a slide. Dan, you're on the right one. So The project will consist of 3 buildings. The first will be a convenience store that has been disclosed, which will be a Quick Trip. That will be third-party owned and constructed. The developer will be doing the civil site work, basically the horizontal development. Additionally, there will be a 3,500 square foot retail box store. That will also be third-party owned and constructed. And then there will be a 6,500 square foot build-to-suit restaurant or retail store that will be developer-owned and constructed. Total project cost is estimated to be $16 million. The development agreement imposes a maximum TIF reimbursement of $3.38 million, as well as a maximum CID reimbursement of $1.88 million. The developer agreement has some terms in there. One is that the developer has until December 31st of '26 to provide tenants for the build-to-suit restaurant and retail components, as well as the CID will actually commence on January 1st of 2027. And the build-to-suit and retail developments cannot be duplicative of other businesses within a 1-mile radius of the project site. Tonight, again, just to repeat, we will be considering TIF project plan, development agreement, and CID in that order on these next 3 items. And happy to stand for any questions that you have on these 3. We can just queue them up one at a time, Mayor.
At this time, I will open the public hearing and ask if there's anyone present who would like to speak to this matter.
Council, city staff, thank you so much for your time. My name is Ben Big. I'm with Polsonelli Law Firm. I'm the attorney of the applicant, BHI Development. I don't think I could do much of a better job of generating excitement for this project than Jerry did a couple weeks ago if we were all here for the TIF district formation. I don't really have much more to get into here. The one thing I wanted to clarify on the CID reimbursement of that, those revenues, some of those revenues have been pledged to the Quick Trip there. That's directly adjacent to Topeka Boulevard. That again is to assist them in their horizontal construction costs as well. So that 1.8, it's 2/3 to BHI Development, 1/3 about, give or take, to Quick Trip to assist with their financing. And we're here for questions, of course. Appreciate staff's time, appreciate the city's time. It's always a pleasure to work here, and more than excited to deliver a project to South Topeka Boulevard. Thank you.
Thank you. Jerry, do we make any comments?
So I'm not going to be winded tonight like I was last time, but I cannot begin to thank everybody involved of the hard work like Braxton's put in, city council, my young attorney here. I mean, it's been just awesome. I wish I could write a memo, put it out, send it out to some of the other municipalities I've worked in up in Kansas City and say, you need to follow suit because this has just been awesome. So we really do appreciate it. I know Ben and I both do.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Again, I will ask if there is anyone else who would like to speak to this matter. Any other persons who would like to speak to this matter? Seeing none, the public hearing is closed. Oh. Okay. And then I'll ask governing body if they have any comments that they would like to share. Councilwoman?
I thought that closed it. Okay. Braxton, so help me out here. What's the difference between a retail box store and a retail store?
So the retail box store is going to be retail, and that will be owned and constructed by a third party. The build to suit was initially, when we initially did the application, that was going to be a restaurant. Since that time, the developer has asked for permission to do build to suit, which will be either a restaurant or a retail store We don't know which. We are very careful that it has to be either a restaurant or retail because it's critical that it generates that retail sales tax. And so that was our ask. I know that the developer has a number of potential suitors that he can't discuss, that he's trying to lure into that site. Obviously, once the Quick Trip goes up, it will make it much easier for him to find someone to go into that site where you have that anchor, you have that convenience store in there. It will make it much easier for him to sell that.
Okay. So don't get caught up in the word box, I guess that's what.
Yes, ma'am.
Thought it was going to be oval or square, or, I mean,
Probably could be.
triangle or something. Okay. Just wanted to make sure I wasn't missing something. I'm excited about this project. I went to the Chamber of Commerce years ago and said, we need a Quick Trip. And they didn't agree with me there. And I tell you where I wanted it. I wanted it at 10th and Madison. I wanted to take out Safe Light in that big white building and put one there, because when you think about all the cars that comes down I-70 and all the revenue that it would generate. Now I got to drive way across town to go to my Quick Trip. Did you hear me, City Manager? Quick Trip. City Manager is like, what's the big deal about Quick Trip? So you guys might need to educate him on that. He wants some Buc-ee's over here, but anyway, so I'm excited, but I really wanted it there. That would have been the perfect location for all the people coming through down I-70. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Any other governing body members like to make a comment? Okay, and on this item, there is a motion from the body, if the body wants to make a motion. A motion to approve by Councilman Duncan and a second by Councilman Dobler. Okay, we're ready to vote.
Councilmember Kell
Yes.
and Councilmember Miller.
Yes.
Okay, we have 9 yes, the motion carries.
Okay, move on to action item 5E. Madam Clerk.
E is an ordinance introduced by City Manager Dr. Robert Perez approving and authorizing execution of a development agreement between the City of Topeka and BHI Development Incorporated.
Mr. City Manager.
Thank you. Mayor and members of the governing body, Braxton Copley, Deputy City Manager, will lead us through this item.
This is approval of the development agreement, which is a multi-page contract that specifies all of the terms and conditions between the parties relative to the maximum amount of the TIF, the CID, requirements that we get provided with updated construction cost estimates, as well as LOIs or leases with the parties prior to key points in the contract, as well as we have a clawback provision in the event that the sales of the pad sites exceeds the amount of the estimate that the developer has, then we would have a proportional clawback of the CID and TIF so that we ensure that we are not over-incentivizing this project. I would ask for approval of this development agreement and gladly stand for any questions that you would have.
Thank you, Deputy City Manager. Okay, if I read my tablet right, we have a motion to approve by Councilman Duncan and a second by Councilman Dobler. Ready to vote.
Okay, Councilmember Kell
Yes.
and Councilmember Miller.
Yes.
Okay, we have 9 yes, the motion carries.
Okay, thank you. Move on to action item 5F. Madam Clerk.
F is a public hearing to consider the advisability of creating a community improvement district and an ordinance introduced by City Manager Dr. Robert Perez establishing a Sunflower Crossing and Community Improvement District CID and levying a CID sales tax of 1% within the CID.
Mr. City Manager.
Thank you. Mayor and members of the governing body, Braxton Copley, Deputy City Manager, will lead us through this item.
This is the third and final item relating to Sunflower Crossing. This, again, is the public hearing and the ordinance authorizing the imposition of a CID of 1%, capped at a maximum of 22 years and limited to maximum reimbursement at $1.88 million. As Mr. Bigham had pointed out earlier, it is contemplated and clearly spelled out in the development agreement that approximately $500,000 of that will be assigned to the Quick Trip entity, the tentative Lot 1. The remainder of it will go to BHI, which is Mr. Rouch's company. Staff recommends approval, and will stand for any questions that you all have.
Any questions before I open the public hearing? Okay. At this time, I will open the public hearing and ask if there is anyone present who would like to speak to this matter. Is there anyone present who would like to speak to this matter? Anyone present who would like to speak to this matter? Hearing none, I close the public hearing. Again, I ask the governing body if they have any comments to make. I see that there is a motion to approve by Councilman Dobler with a second from Councilman Banks. We're ready to vote.
Councilmember Kell
Yes.
and Councilmember Miller.
Yes.
All right. All right, we have 8 yes with Councilmember Duncan voting no. The motion carries.
Thank you. Move to action item 5G.
G is a partial assignment and assumption of development agreement between EIG Wanamaker LLC and Indiana Limited Liability Company and the Orbovochik Living Trust.
Okay. Mr. City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the governing body, Braxton Copley, Deputy City Manager, and Ben Bingham, Polsonelli Law Firm will lead us through this item.
Thank you, governing body. So what's in front of you today is a partial assignment of the development agreement between EIG, which is the developer, and the Obradovich Living Trust. So Mr. Obradovich has decided to, he's from California, former professional football player, has decided to diversify his holdings. He is in the process of purchasing the pad site where the Cava has been constructed at the 17th and Wanamaker development. So this agreement allows for the sale to go through because this is a condition precedent to that sale. This will simply assign and require the assignee to comply with and to implement several of the provisions, the conditions that are outlined in the development agreement. So straightforward. I'm glad that we're able to attract an outside investor in. I will also mention that as part of this, the developer has disclosed to us that Skechers and Rally House have been contracted with as tenants to also move into this facility, into this development. Staff recommends approval. Mr. Bigham also represents this developer, and I will defer to him if you have any specific questions that you would like to have Mr. Bigham respond to.
All right. Thank you. Any questions from the governing body?
Feels like we ought to ask him a question.
Hey, I'm good
He's
with that
ready.
question, too.
Okay, thank you. Okay. So in this, is there a motion from the body?
There is technically a public hearing on this as well.
Oh, I didn't have it. I can call for one, but I didn't have one for 5G.
Oh, Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I was on the last item.
Okay,
This is just.
no problem.
My apologies. Too
No
many
problem.
CIDs, TIFs, and other things swirling
Good
around.
problem to have.
Swirling around, right? Yeah, this is just simply a straightforward approval of the assignment, a partial assignment of the development agreement.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve from a member of the governing body? I haven't,
You got a motion?
We're already on voting, so the motion.
on that one? Well, my screen isn't showing a voting panel or,
Okay, let's try that. Now, can you?
okay, I want to make sure we do this right.
We need a motion and a second. This is for the
Okay.
partial assignment.
Okay, I'll need a motion from the governing body. Motion to approve by Councilman Banks and a second by Councilman Duncan. Now we're ready to vote.
Yes. Just a moment. Okay. Councilmember Kell?
Yes.
Councilmember Miller?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, we have 9 yes, the motion carries.
Okay? Thank you. Action item 5H, Madam Clerk.
H is discussion with possible action of an ordinance introduced by City Manager Dr. Robert Perez establishing a service fee levy for 2026 relating to the Topeka Tourism Business Improvement District, amending Section 365-035 of the Topeka Municipal Code and repealing original section.
Mr. City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the governing body. Josh McInerney, our Division Director of Budget and Finance, will lead us to this item. To Mr. Kurt Young, President of Topeka Lodging Association, in the audience for any questions.
Thank you, City Manager. So the next three items are kind of just renewals of the Business Improvement District. So the Topeka Tourism one, NOTO, and then the downtown one. So high level, what a Business Improvement District is it's just a special zone where property owners pay a special extra assessment for tools such as marketing, cleaning, infrastructure improvements, et cetera. So what this one is obviously the the Topeka Tourism one. So there's no changes from last year's contract, and it's a one-year renewal. And then high level, the service fees are used for promotions and community events at Evergy Plaza.
Okay. Any questions for Josh? Seeing none, there's a motion to approve by Councilwoman Ortiz and a second by Councilman Dover. All right, we're ready to vote.
Councilmembers Kell
Yes.
and Miller.
Yes.
Okay, we have 9 yes, the motion carries.
Thank you. Kurt, thank you for being here. Move to action item 5I. Madam Clerk.
I is discussion with possible action of an ordinance introduced by City Manager Dr. Robert Perez establishing a service fee levy for 2026 relating to the Capital City Downtown Business Improvement District, amending Section 3040030 of the Topeka Municipal Code and repealing original section.
City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the governing body. Josh will lead us to this item as well. So see Mr. Andrew Holt, Downtown Topeka President, in the audience for any questions you may have.
Thank you, City Manager. Same situation as last one. However, this one is for downtown and high level. A couple of the improvements are landscaping, lighting on Kansas Avenues, and then any programs to promote downtown. But I'll defer to Andrew for any questions.
Okay. Any questions? Yeah, Andrew here. Councilman Duncan?
I just have a general, I guess this is a legal question, maybe it's a finance question. I understand we do these every year in part because fees may want to be adjusted or there need to be changes, but is there a legal reason we don't do these in larger blocks of like 2 and 3 year increments so everybody knows this is my rate for a 2 or 3 year period? I'm not gonna make any motions tonight. I just, as we move forward, just curious if there's a reason we don't do these in some bigger chunks so they kind of know they've got it for 2 to 3 years without having to come back to us, and we kind of know it's locked in, and then if they want changes, they could come back and ask. But
Yeah, and I will be honest, I don't know the answer to that right off the top of my head. Braxton, do you happen to know if there's a specific reason?
No, it's,
Kurt's wandering up.
There might be,
Short answer to your question, I believe, and I brought my statutes with me tonight, but I think that is all regulated by the statutes, the Kansas statutes that govern the establishment of these these business improvement districts. So without doing some research.
No, I mean, that's helpful. We can look it up. I just, maybe we need to change the state law. We'll take a look at that too. All right, perfect. Thank you very much.
Any other questions for Andrew, or? Okay.
thank you.
Thank you, Andrew. Motion to approve by Councilwoman Ortiz, and a second by Councilwoman Hiller. So we're ready to vote?
Councilmember Kell?
Yes.
And Miller?
Yes.
We have 9 yes, the motion carries.
Okay. Action item 5J, Madam Clerk.
J is discussion with possible action of an ordinance introduced by City Manager Dr. Robert Perez establishing a service fee levy for 2026 for the NOTO Business Improvement District, amending Section 370030 of the Topeka Municipal Code and repealing original sections.
City Manager.
thank you. Josh will lead us to this item as well. And we also have Pedro Concepcion, Executive Director of NOTO Arts and Entertainment District, in the audience for any questions.
Same as the prior two, just a one-year renewal and then no changes for the prior year. And then obviously the boundaries of the district are the NOTO area.
Okay, thank you, Josh. Any questions for Josh or Pedro? Councilman Duncan.
Yeah, I got a question for Pedro. I know your bid is relatively new compared to the others we just did. And I know early on there was some mostly positive, but some pushback. Has everyone down in NOTO kind of gotten accustomed to what it is and bought in, and we had it? Is it going okay, I guess? I mean, better than it was? And I don't think you were around when it got created, but it's only been a few years.
Yeah, I think every year we've been growing more and more in a positive way. And with the redevelopment incentive program, it's giving people options to making sure they pay their bid, so that way they can apply for the redevelopment grant. So we're actually seeing an actual uptick of people paying their bid as well too. So just a friendly reminder with all the business owners to talk to their neighbors and making sure why it's important to pay their bid, so that we can beautify our area, make it safer. So we have been seeing an increase of a positive moving forward, and understanding why the bid is there and how we can beautify our neighborhood and make it safer for everybody.
That's great. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Any further questions? Thank you, Pedro. Okay, let's see, there's a motion to approve by Councilwoman Ortiz, the second by Councilwoman Hiller. Ready to vote?
Councilmember Kell?
Yes.
And Councilmember Miller?
Yes. Thank you.
Okay, we have 9 yes, the motion carries.
Move on to action item 5K. Madam Clerk?
K is a resolution introduced by City Manager Dr. Robert Perez, making certain findings pursuant to the K is a resolution introduced by the City Manager Dr. Robert Perez, making certain findings pursuant to the Kansas Reinvestment Housing Incentive District Act with regard to an application submitted by LB Lots LLC to establish an additional reinvestment housing incentive district, and requesting that the Secretary of Commerce review the resolution and advise the governing body.
Mr. City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor and members of the governing body. Just wanted to point out that the developer has requested that this RHID application be pulled for consideration. That will stand for any questions you may have.
Okay. Okay, Councilman Dover.
Thank you, Mayor. I had a quick phone call from Mr. Doltmeyer, who'd signed up to speak tonight. He indicated that he would not be here to speak, since we most likely will let this item die for any motion.
Okay.
So, thank you.
Well, thank you. So we have no Adam signed up, crossed off. Hearing that explanation, we'll move on. And that's the last of the action items. We'll move on to the public comment. We have 5 people signed up for public comment. Martha Boatwright.
Okay. All right, good evening. Most of you know me. I'm Martha Boatwright. I work with Topeka Tenants, and it's beginning to look a lot like last Christmas. Trash is piling up at every Lou McGinnis property in town. That's right. Our favorite local near monopoly landlord has decided to switch trash service providers and put up notices at some locations. It seems to be being left up to the prerogative of building managers to decide whether they're going to tell people what's going on or not. A lot of this is spreading by word of mouth, but they have been told that it's going to be about a month before new dumpsters are ready. In the meantime, tenants have to drive their trash to pickup locations or leave it to pile up just in time for the holidays again. It's been a year since I first came to the city council to talk about the inactivity on slumlords in this city, and we are still right back where we started. The difference this time around is everybody knows their apartments are all owned by the same guy, which they didn't learn until the trash fiasco of '24. But it shouldn't take this kind of meltdown or the countless hours of digging through public records that Topeka Tenants has done to know exactly who owns what properties, what violations they have made, and whether or not they are deserving of strict scrutiny as repeat offenders. This is why Topeka Tenants supports Topeka joining other cities around the country and having a rental registry that connects all this information in one location for the city prosecutor and code maintenance, as well as a licensing program to help pay for the upkeep through low fees that target owners of many properties. We appreciate that the City Council is considering this measure. As we have observed meetings about this issue, we have some concerns we would like to raise. First of all, so far these meetings have been held during the day when most folks who are tenants work. Thus, the primary speakers at these meetings so far have been landlords, who are often bringing, frankly, misinformation to the meetings to speak out against more oversight of them. One of them even said on the record that they get away with a lot of code violations because the population of Topeka is poor and uneducated and can't afford lawyers. It was kind of shocking to hear someone willing to say that on press. I think his name was Pat DeLapp. We also have a concern about conflict of interest with at least one of the council members on the committee overseeing this item, as she is a landlord herself. This is primarily concerning because she doesn't ever disclose this in meetings, and indeed seemed very surprised that we knew about it when Topeka Tenants had a meeting with her this weekend. If this is not a conflict of interest, why is she not making her identity as a landlord public record? And I'm also going to say, I don't want to bring up personal stuff at a public meeting, but I cannot speak for the whole organization, but I personally was kind of insulted by some statements that she made about low-income residents of her district at that same meeting. But not the time and place. I hope that the City Council is aware of these issues and is taking steps to make certain that the review process of the rental registry is being done fairly and without bias, so that all sides can be heard and that this can be successfully implemented as it has been in many other cities across the country. Thank you.
Thank you. Is it Keely Addington? Did I pronounce that correctly?
Yes.
Okay.
So I would like to start out with you guys listening to a Kansas statute 222607. Kansas statute 22-2607 deals with assisting another to commit a crime or avoid prosecution and specifies the proper venue for prosecuting such person. This is, in other words, aiding and abetting, or they also call that Article 26 of the Kansas Code of Criminal Procedure, focusing on intentionally hiding evidence. I am here as an advocate for the truth. The citizens of the city deserve transparency and should be able to trust the people, you all, who have been put in positions to keep them safe. Unfortunately, most of you appear to be dishonest. You employ cowards to cover up your corruption. Dylan Wallstrom was shot in the head 9 times by an officer of the Topeka Police Department. He was executed. This officer lied to his superior, his colleagues, to the media, to the public. They allowed the media to report his lies. They claimed Dylan shot at the officer, struggled with the officer, and Dylan never left the car. The body cam footage that you all said wasn't in the public's best interest to show proved otherwise. KBI was supposed to investigate this instance, and to no one's surprise, they also lied before turning it over to KG, who signed off on all of the lies. It wasn't in the department's best interest to let the public see you all for the liars that you are. You, all of you, allowed this murderer to go back onto the city streets to kill again. Taylor Lowry, I dare say, died by the same officer's hand. Let's be honest, you all aren't running our city. You're running a criminal enterprise. This is an organized criminal operation being funded by our government, backed by our courts, and carried out by our elected officials. Transparency isn't a priority. Mental health isn't a priority. Access to health care or medicine that isn't poisoning us are not priorities. Instead, your meetings consist of property maintenance, code violations, election signs and yards, and other similar items that the citizens of this city could care less about. The citizens of Topeka want to know why the officers who killed Dylan Wallstrom and Taylor Lowry are being protected. We want accountability, we want access to meds that won't kill us, and we want his name released. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Lassiter.
Good evening. Good evening. I want to give these to council. First of all, I didn't plan to speak tonight. I thought, let me just sit it out. And then I passed by a police car, and the slogan on there says, "Protect and serve with honor." I was like, that's honorable. Appreciate that. Received some information today, and it's from some parents in our community. And I thought, let me follow up because it's a type of situation that our Chief Vallejo, I felt like needed a heads up on it. So I headed down to the police department to talk with him, and something else was going on. I love the person who's at the window. He's just so gracious. And he said, he came back out and said, "Miss Lassiter, it's kind of unfortunate. I need to tell you that you're not allowed to speak to the chief." And I said, "Are you serious?" I had to laugh. He said, "Yes, because your family is involved with a lawsuit with the city." I said, "My family?" I was trying to pull that together. And I said, "Oh, okay. I'm assuming you mean my daughter, who is a bona fide attorney, lawyer, and she's able to represent wherever. It has nothing to do with my family. My name is Sandra West Lassiter, and I have nothing to do, I'm not on any lawsuits or whatever, but I certainly am standing as an advocate for people in this community." The interesting thing, I had to laugh again because I was looking for a chief. I hope I get a chance to speak with him before I get out of here tonight because it was such foolery. I mean, it was an asinine attack, and it was such stupidity. The fact that we have so many attorneys in the city, I see them fraternize all the time after hours with other people, with some of you and others, and it doesn't seem to be a problem when they have a conversation, but they talk about all different types of things. But what I did stand up about was I want to talk about this search warrant that was issued to students at Topeka High and other 501 schools, and my concern with it, no parents were contacted. These children were, you call it a cattle call. These children were put out of classrooms, and this is about a homicide of the young man who just recently passed. As a matter of fact, we had a balloon liftoff, one of the most phenomenal balloon liftoffs in the city. 130 people came, many, many young people, very calm, very pleasant, very loving and nurturing to these parents that lost this loved one. Not only that, I called 911. And I asked those officers to come and to observe all of these babies that are showing love and are very concerned. And that was Officer Sexton and Officer Cleasock. And so Cleasock and I have a little connection because I taught some of his family members early on. But my concern with these children, of course, they're traumatized. And one little boy, his mom said, "Why didn't you call me?" He said, "Because I was talking to the police." Just showed his trust in the policeman and yet and still did not call his mom. Well, I haven't dealt with the administration at all, but I want to have an opportunity, if these parents decide to come, which I'm sure they will, to have a conversation with Chief Vallejos. I don't think that some of these leaders that have come to our city understand who we are. We are advocates for these people, and for them to deny us opportunity to speak with them, I don't know if they're afraid, if they're sensitive, if they're whatever, lacking in some area. If you were concerned about a lawsuit, I think you should be concerned about the fact that I'm being discriminated against, Sandra West Lassiter, because I cannot go in to talk to a city leader. Now, I want to admire you again, Mayor, that you have an open door, and we can just walk right in and say hello and talk to you probably about anything. I've never had this experience in the past. That's why I'm so concerned about why we're dealing with this now. But actually, it didn't concern me as much as the names of these children here. This is a homicide. And these children, the person on here, and I won't name who he is, he's a detective, and he said, "I'll talk back with you next week," to one of the parents. The parents are saying, "No, we're organizing like right now to see."
How much time would you need?
Oh, another minute is just fine.
Is there any objection? Okay, proceed.
I hope not, because this is serious. You talk about a class action suit. When parents start getting together and talk about how they were denied an opportunity to speak with their children, and he took their phones and kept them. So the other advice I've gotten from an attorney, not necessarily my daughter, I have a lot of attorneys I have access to, but most of all I have an access to an attorney that sits high and looks low, and so I'm not concerned about an attorney. But the fact that these children's phones were removed, they were in trauma, they've not been returned, and of course, they probably are being cloned for all their information in their phones, which is another, not sure about their rights, but I tell you what, we're getting ready to work on some Know Your Rights, possibly with our Officer Campbell, who's at French, and some others in the community, other social workers, other persons. We are going to talk to our children about knowing your rights. Your phone belongs to you. So we would hope these people appreciate who we are, and if they don't, then they probably need to exit our city. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. Danielle Twemlow?
Good evening. I wanted to follow up from last week's public comment regarding a core request of documentation regarding Kansas topsoil. So last night I did receive a few documents. If I want to get the remaining documents, which includes the emails and more detailed, there is a $400 charge that I need to go pay. However, after reviewing the documents that were sent to me, it's very clear that I'll probably increase my request because of the concerns that were found in just the 4 documents that were sent. So with the limited amount of time, I only had a small amount of time for someone to review them, to provide me information that I will share with what I do know that came from this. First off, some pretty key findings from some invoices that were sent that from January of 24 to October of 25, this one contractor had 222 invoices for emergency work that totaled over $1 million. So in just that amount of time, having that many emergency service jobs on top of whatever other contracts there were, 3 of them were sent to me. Some of them happening several in one day. What didn't come to me was time of day that these occurred. So that will be some additional things that I will be asking for. There were also some pretty interesting things that with this one company getting all of these invoices and bids, really kind of gives me a significant red flag for potential steering. This very anti-competitive practice where work is consistently routed to one vendor, which is highly illegal. So we'll keep getting through all of the rest of the documentation when they come through. There was a bit I will address. There was some insurance, I will say very minimum. Still looking through whether it was all the requirement and what those gaps look like. However, that's not even the most concerning part. The fact that they weren't even a legal business, but there's way more concerning things to this. For instance, 73% of all the invoices were for the exact same amount, $4,280, which happens to be the exact price that they bidded for fire hydrant removal and replacement, replacement of seat and gate valve, which is also part of fire hydrants. So this might be something that came up in an investigation that was supposed to occur. Previously, that was brought up of concerns. So that's concerning, which I did in December 1st, look for those fire hydrant replacements and work. And when I went to that data portal, again, it was not accessible today, but did some little computer work and was able to pull that back up. So we'll be comparing that. So this package billing is also interesting because the other invoice amounts were all derivatives of that $4,280, all exact amounts, derivatives of halves or 3/4 or double. So all invoices follow that pattern, which is highly red flagging. So, indicating those half jobs or double jobs. I was able to find the list of the City of Topeka's licensed contractors for as of 8/6/2024. I couldn't find any current ones, but as of 8/6/2024 on residential or on commercial contractors, they are not listed. So I will be increasing my request to broaden the CORA to include more detailed information because we have a highly concerning situation going on. Thank you.
Thank you. Pat Dillette.
Hi, I'd like to talk to council about, or something what I'm going to call forbidden knowledge CDU. What's going on here is you've heard the cry, we've got 3,500 substandard homes in Topeka, and we got to do something about this. This is horrible. Well, I filled out an open request. They couldn't find it. I called Karen Hiller. She said it was in the housing study. I read that housing study, 120 pages, so 3 times, wasn't in there. Finally, a council person told me it was never in writing that we got this. They told us, the people that did the housing study, that we had that much. And it's being used, perhaps unintentionally, as fact, and it's not. What CDU is, it's part of the county appraiser's website, and you can find it in 2 areas, on the property record and the building data page. What that means is condition, desirability, and utility. Condition is pretty obvious. You have a hole in the roof, you got broken windows, you need paint. Desirability is a bit more tough. It has to do with talking about your neighbors, talking about the area, stuff like this. It could also be as far as you're living on a busy street. If you have grandkids, might have a beautiful house. People going 40 miles an hour, speed limit, but if they're going 50 miles an hour, is your pet or your grandkids gonna run out on the street and be hit by a car and killed? A lot of people don't find that desirable. So your house is rated down. The final thing is utility. Utility has to do with, are you functionally obsolete? Do you have 200 amp services in your house? Do you have central air, or are you using window air conditioning? What size is your closet? Is your closet walk-in closets like people expect nowadays? The house I grew up in, the walk-in closets are the size my bedroom was. New ones. And it just goes on, and that runs to your desirability. on it. So CDU, that's what they were talking about. When our contractor, Karen Black, she was with May 8 Consultant, when she heard people wanted to use that as a way to get more power, things like this, she stood up immediately and says, no, don't pay any attention to that. Don't do that, because it's not that important. Jim, I'll send you emails on what your individual ones. I talked to Karen Hiller about this, and part of that 3,500 homes, we have in the changing our culture, we want to reduce that number down to 500 within 5 years. Not gonna happen. I talked to Karen Hiller this week and pointed out all 3 houses that she owns are substandard according to this CDU. She was, oh my goodness, she was embarrassed. Gentlemen, we should not be using this thing as a method of having housing codes to try to reduce that number, because it's not going to happen. In our old areas of towns, that number's just going to keep on growing and growing, because, let's face it, if our kids got money, they don't want to live in houses we have. They want to do better than that. And so they have higher standards. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, that's the last person we had for public comment. Move on to announcements. Madam Clerk.
Okay, the first announcement is tomorrow night, we have a JEDO board meeting here in this room at 6 o'clock for the JEDO board. On December 16th meeting, we have the service recognition for the mayor, deputy mayor, and outgoing council member Dobler. Appointments are, we have 5 board appointments, 1 to the Topeka Sustainability Advisory Board, and then we have the Planning Commission, the Metro Transit Board, and then Landmarks Commission and Human Relations Commission. We have 1 Affordable Housing Trust Fund presentation. We have a contract amendment for the firefighters on consent agenda. Action items include a public hearing and ordinance for the de-annexation of property located near Southwest Wanamaker Road and 53rd Street for Auburn-Washburn School District. We have a final plat for Ardmore Walk Addition, and then a corresponding ordinance for annexation at Southwest 45th Street and Burlingame Road. We have an ordinance for a street name on Northwest 8th Street to Northwest Waldo Way. A resolution for Project View District, it's an RHID for state approval, and then another resolution for 3D Homes, Inc. for an RHID for state approval. We have the resolution for the California Crossing Community Improvement District, setting a public hearing for February 3rd. We have a resolution for the FIRM program, resolution declaring the city of Topeka boundaries, and then we have the ordinance on the 2025 budget amendments and discussion with possible action of adoption of the 2024 International Property Maintenance Code.
That's it. Thank you. City Manager.
I was going to say that we wanted to make that last meeting a doozy for y'all, so bring in some snacks. Nothing else, thank you.
Okay. Now, I'll just get started over here. Councilwoman Hiller.
Nothing, thank you.
Okay. Councilwoman Ortiz.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I appreciate what you did at the beginning of the meeting to take a moment of silence out. I've had several friends, a goddaughter that was buried, my daughter's godson, a lot of death around. It's kind of unusual, but also I want to say that mental health is real, and it is real with these kids, and I did receive a text with that. Some of these kids are, I do want to talk to the city manager and the chief about it, because they are traumatized. And I know we do need to do a better job on teaching them how to use their phones and what to do. And but the way that it was gone about, I've had calls and they were traumatized. And but I do want us to pray for each other. There's some pillars that have gone on. my daughter's godfather, Harold Dawson, he was very instrumental in sent tons of food for people that are hungry. And right now, people are hungry, people are traumatized, and they're struggling with their utilities. So thank you, Mr. Mayor, for doing that, and we just need to continue to pray for the city and our people. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Councilman Banks.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would just like to give a shout out to the firefighters at number 3's fire station. Invited me to their Christmas tree lighting tonight, and I was real honored. And as most of you know, that I was a firefighter here for many years, and one of the firefighters reminded me today of my retirement and how old I am. And, you know, as long as I've been gone, I still get invites. And, you know, that really is a testimony to the camaraderie and the teamwork of that group. Not just 3's for the camaraderie, but all of the guys. I get to go to all of the stations, and I'm welcome as though I'm still a firefighter. I think I would like to go back as a rookie. I don't know if the chief is here tonight, if I might be able to cut the mustard, Mayor. But it really is a good feeling to know that I'm welcome back. And their Christmas tree lighting was quite an event. They wanted me to give a speech, but I didn't do that. I told them that I would give the shout out here at announcements tonight. So I'd like to thank them for still treating me like I'm a part of the team, and I hope that it stays that way. So thank you, Mr. Mayor.
You're welcome, sir. Councilman Keller, are you still online?
Yes, sir. Nothing tonight, sir.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Miller, are you online as well? Okay, seeing none. Councilman Dobler.
Next week, I'll have some comments. I'll do my best Tony Emerson impersonation. Try to one-up him, but tonight I have nothing, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. I look forward to it.
Yeah.
Mayor-elect.
Thank you, Mayor. 2 things tonight. We all have lots of constituents who contact us, but I think we also each have that list of constituents who check in with us on a regular basis, whether it's to tell us something they think we need to know, or have concerns or questions, or just want to talk to us about why we aren't doing this the right way, or why we are, and all those good things. And one of those constituents for me the last 6 years has been a man by the name of Brian Hall. He passed away unexpectedly yesterday, walking his dogs. He loved his dogs, so maybe it was appropriate. You know, he always used to talk about if I'm going to go, I want my dogs to be there. And but he was a great guy. His brother actually is the city manager in Pittsburgh, Kansas. So he would also remind me, I know what I'm talking about. My brother's a city manager, right? And so he was a good guy, and he came to a lot of public meetings, and he will be missed. And so I just condolences to him and his family, and I want them to know that he will be someone that I think many of us will miss over in the Crestview neighborhood. The second thing is, as people know, my mother passed away in September, and she was an avid collector of snow, what she called snow people. Snowmen to the rest of us, but snow people to her. And so one of the things we were able to do, knowing some folks at Westridge Mall, we were talking to some of them, and they said, well, you could display those out here if you'd like to. So up until Christmas, they've been up since Black Friday, you can go through up till Christmas Eve, is the Kathy Allen Duncan Snow People Village. Our family went in and set up the entire village that she used to do, and all of her snowman collection. Really just, nothing's for sale, no cost. We have asked for some donations to some of her causes like Ballet Midwest and the Cat Association of Topeka. It is interesting, you never know what things, I want to thank WIBW, they came out, people if they want to go see me and my brothers talking on camera and my father, they can go see the article on WIBW.com. But it is interesting the things that take off. There's somebody online who is kind of a social influencer on X who just put it out there, hey, look at this nice thing this family did in Topeka, Kansas, and it has 1.5 million people have now shared that around the world on social media. So you never know what little things. My mother, who could barely turn on her computer, would laugh that she kind of went viral after her death. But I just tell people it's on the 2nd floor across from Petland, appropriately and just randomly next to Spencer's Gifts. So there you go. As I told my 2 brothers, ha ha ha, see? it worked out that way. So anyone until Christmas Eve is more than welcome to go check that out. And just sort of a celebration of her and just a fun Christmas thing to do if you're out there. So thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. I noticed the placement of the Spencer's right next door too. I stopped by it. It's fun to go in and take a look at it and all the little details. So I thank you and your family for sharing that with us. Councilwoman Hofer?
Mayor?
Councilwoman Hiller?
I wasn't expecting to go first. Could I
Sure.
go after all? Two things. One, hats off to John Coop and the Greater Topeka Partnership. The Miracle on Kansas Avenue Parade was phenomenal on Saturday night. The decorations, the involvement downtown, the fireworks off the roof of the Park and Shop garage, the lights, the big, I don't know what you call them, searchlights going in the sky that you could see from literally miles away. When I got to downtown, I was parked about Van Buren Street, 7th or something like that, and the sidewalks along 7th Street, for instance, were packed 4 and 5 deep all the way out a couple of blocks. It was like being in New York City, and it was Topeka. So it was just a phenomenal evening. My understanding is that they accepted anybody who wanted to be on the parade and that there were more than 200 floats. But it was well done, so just wanted to say hats off. And also, since a couple of comments were made, lest there be confusion, I am that person who owns my house and the 2 houses next door to me in central Topeka. That is not uncommon for us in central anyway, when there are houses that are fragile on the block to buy them at least for a while and help stabilize the block. And so just in case people were wondering or whatever, they are older houses for sure. It's my own home and the houses next door to me. So just get that on the table. We've worked hard at citywide, of course, with public health and safety and the changing our culture of property maintenance to advance the work citywide on these issues, and we'll keep doing that. Thank you.
I'll just take a moment to thank the HRC, the Human Relations Commission, for hosting the Posadas. I didn't get to go last year because of a conflict, and this year I had a conflict again, but decided to go to this year's event, and it was nice to get together and visit with friends and with some of the commissioners from the HRC. Got to spend some time with the city manager and a visitor who is very excited about being in Topeka and things that he sees that he can bring to Topeka in the way of economic development. So it was a good evening. I was going to also spend some time with a group of people parishioners from Our Lady of Guadalupe. That's called the Amigos. And they are a group of parishioners who volunteer that whenever there is a funeral held at the church, they set up all the meals and everything for the family so the family doesn't have to care about anything, and they'll take care of it. And they set everything up, clean up and everything. And they're a good group of people, and I want to thank them for what they do for those who have loved ones who has passed, which gave me reason to make my comments tonight. And you beat me to it again whenever I let you go ahead. I was going to give comments about the parade. The parade was really, really exciting. The biggest pieces that I saw were all the kids that were there that were just all excited to be there and just having a great time. And what it says again about Topeka is that you can have an event that big that draws people from all parts of the city, because it was a huge, diverse crowd and no issues had at all. And so I hope that everybody will have a good holiday season in the best way that they can. And I thank everybody for showing up and supporting the Greater Topeka Partnership as they put that together, and looked at all the downtown businesses that were filled after the parade when people stopped in to get something to eat and drink, and that helps our economy, and it speaks well of the organization that we have put together. So I want to thank everybody for this evening. There's no executive session this evening, so no further business that comes before this body. The meeting is adjourned.